when the planning commission hasn't finished their, I guess, ordinance for the data centers. Is this something that you're approving too early?
Well, we don't think so. On advice of counsel in particular, you heard one of our attorneys tell us tonight that better to have an imperfect ordinance than wait much longer to have a perfect one.
I
So
understand.
we're going to continue beginning tomorrow
Yeah.
to think about re-amending this ordinance because of all the things we heard tonight and many other things as well.
The one thing that I'm so sorry, I forgot your name, that she was talking about was having like a TBD thing or something, understanding that you want to protect us before any kind of application came in, because we don't have anything, or because there were other points that were brought up tonight that were very valid.
Yes.
Is it inappropriate to put in something like a TBD and still protect the township before those additional points are added in? Like what Katie Booth said, take out the public, what you said in TBD, what other people talk about noise, decibel levels and things like that. I don't want you to, I understand why you want to approve something, but is it something that we're approving too early? And if you go to amend it, when is the amendment? Immediately? Or do we have to wait more months? And is it still going to hurt us down the road?
So I can try to address that. Two thoughts. One, if you start changing the language of what's before the board tonight, we have to go through a whole nother process again anyway.
Yeah.
So again, under that idea that a good product today is better than a perfect product too late, I recommend that the board adopt this, then take in all the comments, the constructive comments that were presented tonight, craft a further amendment, get that to the PCs, advertise it, and get it back in front of the Board of Supervisors within the next few months so that you have a product that takes into account some of the comments that were made tonight.
And the other question is you're talking about, I'm just kind of like extrapolating here. Open space fund, you guys have been using the open space dollars to put easements in place on private land so they cannot build. Is it an opportunity for the township to put easements in place using the open space fund on the Ottenberg property, which is industrial and butts up against a whole bunch of residential? I'm just trying to tie it together. I don't want to do anything too early, and I also don't want to do anything too late.
Well, you brought up a good point. And one of the best protections from this kind of development is to have open space, and we used to have plenty of open space in this township, but to protect it through easements and for that matter, purchasing it. And we have some purchases underway right now.
No, I understand. You've got 1.4 million or something that's been purchased for Miller Farm and things like that. I'm talking about specifically the Ottenberg property, which butts up against the Pico property and also butts up against Regency, Kimberton, Glen, and a whole bunch of other.
We know that, thank you. We know that, and we're looking at that property too.
Are you allowed to do that though in the township? Are you allowed to put open space funds against industrial property, which is what Ottenberg zoned, in addition to the residential properties like the Miller Farm that we're purchasing? Is there any kind of hiccup in the language that says, no, you cannot put open space funds against industrial to prevent future building?
None that I'm aware of, but I'll defer to council on that.
Yeah, none that I'm aware of. The open space that you're targeting has to be part of the study that the township has conducted. So that's the next question is that property that you're talking about part of the overall study that the township has conducted as regards to what property should be considered for
Yeah,
open space?
because it's also residential because they have a home on it, but it's industrial because they've got the business on it.
Yeah, but I don't recall that being any applicable criteria within the Open Space Act.
Yes, ma'am.
Clearly, you're planning to accept this tonight, what you proposed is an amendment, right? Because better now than Sunday. I should learn to project more. Sorry, can you hear me now?
That's why we have these talk.
So clearly, you feel, from a legal standpoint, your counsel is telling you you need to accept your amendment tonight and move forward so you have something down.
Yes.
And then you mentioned several months. What guarantee, I mean, can you give us an amendment every month? Can you prioritize what you're gonna tackle? Like the brownfield issue seems to be a really big opportunity. Why aren't we saying we're gonna accept this today and on August 1st or 2nd or whatever day the Tuesday is, we're coming back and we're gonna deal with that then? And do this incrementally, like you are truly actively shoring up our community, as opposed to doing this and then leaving these glaring gaps that we all just went over, some of which are larger than others, but some of which could have a broad sweep in fixing and tying up a lot of things for you in terms of data centers specifically and penetration into the ground with remediation. Is that the plan, or to incrementally fix it, or are we waiting now after we accept this for the golden child to come many generations from now in 6 months?
So if we were rewriting the rules that's given to us by the state, we could do it tomorrow. But we can't, there's a process that's involved, including going to the PCs, and there's 3 different ones, advertising, things like that. So with that process in mind, and with the idea that I like to under-promise and over-deliver, I'm saying yes, in a few months.
Quantify few.
I don't think I can.
Generally speaking, few indicates 3. 3 to 5.
I agree with that. However,
3 to 8.
I stand by, and I think you'll see a product.
Okay, because it kind of feels as a community that though we were given the opportunity to come and speak, and though you can hear us, you do not give us the opportunity to make recommendations or participate in having our viewpoints heard and acted upon in a timely manner.
Well, that's about to change. As a result of the meeting tonight, I was just talking to my colleagues, we're going to put out an invitation for people to join a committee which will specifically address the issues you're talking about, as well as others. And so for those of you who've remained, if you care to join that committee, we would certainly welcome you. Tell us what skills you have. Been a lot of talk about different skills tonight, and true, it requires many, many, many to understand these things. And we want your participation. Yes, sir.
Jesse Parsons. Ron, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. I want to give you all the benefit of the doubt and give you trust, because that's what we're up against right now at this moment, is trusting that you're going to follow through on this word. For several months, we've been appearing at these meetings and asking you about this issue, asking you to do something about it. And you keep saying, we're organizing a group of people, we're looking over it, we're studying it, we've got, like, we got our heads in the books about this. And just tonight, we find out it's a brownfield. Like, all of these new ideas appear as though they weren't there a few months ago when you had your head in the book studying it, and now your promise is you're going to put your head back in the book and study it. I'm so glad that you're inviting other people into that process, because as we saw tonight, we have really brilliant minds, very capable in our own township. So my question is just, why do we believe that you're going to do this now when you've been saying this for months, and tonight was the culmination of that for months?
Well, because it took months to get it together. You heard council explain it has to go through 3 different planning commissions.
I'm not asking about the process. I'm asking why you didn't actually, like, come up with really good ways to legislate this, to really protect the people.
We did the best we could under the circumstances. And we had this meeting tonight to find out how it could be better.
Yeah, we're not just angry. We also want to help.
Pardon me. We've learned a lot. We're going to form the committee very soon, in fact, immediately. And we're going to learn from the people that came here tonight to offer things. We've contacted Katie Moose's office. You've heard her come in tonight and explain she has things to contribute. And we're going to be working with her staff as well. That's all.
That's what I wanted to ask.
This is getting called bullshit.
How well, or not how well, how closely will you be working with Senator Moore's office? Because she has been on the forefront of this, and her vast wealth of knowledge would be extremely valuable to this township.
We know that, and you heard me explain tonight while she was still here that we expect to work with her and with her staff.
I think that this is a good idea to adopt this tonight, we have something in place, but I think you need to tweak this, make it a maximum of 20 acres, not a minimum.
That's what we're going to do.
Okay, we're gonna hold you to that.
That's what we're doing.
It just seems as though if we're gonna go ahead with this, but it's not gonna be active like tomorrow, it's still gonna be this like long process, why are we gonna put our efforts into that rather than talking about a better new plan?
Well, the minute we approve it, it's enforced.
No, he said it would be a process, it's not
That's to
going to be.
To change it, if we want to change what they're presenting.
The ordinance as presented today. And then work on the amendment to that going forward.
So this is effective as of tomorrow.
As of tomorrow or 5 days, it used to be 5 days.
Moment they say yes.
I don't have the exact language in front of me, but it's effective pretty much immediately.
Yes, sir.
If there are no active applications or inquiries concerning a data center, and given the negative vibes I think that you got from listening to people tonight, and particularly the words from Senator Muth, why vote on it tonight? Why not table it until a later date when the product can be improved? And maybe the sentiment of the community might change.
Sir, can we have your name, please?
Don Smith?
So, the reason that the township has been working on this, and the reason that it culminated in the amendment that's before the board tonight, is because of the concern that an applicant appears. So yes, nothing before the township today, which is great. We don't know what tomorrow brings. That's why these beefed up requirements and restrictions, that's what's in this amendment. Now, we've heard several more that make sense to put into a further amendment to it. But it's better to get this in place today. You never know. If somebody's got an application in the hopper ready to go tomorrow, Monday, whatever it might be. That's why.
So we're looking at this as a living document that will continue to be examined and revised. And this moves the ball tonight from here to here.
And I should add that if somebody came in with an application yesterday, where the board had a chance to adopt these beefed up restrictions, then the township has to process that application based upon what existed yesterday, not what's happening tonight. That's why we're doing this, is to prevent against an application that comes in very quickly.
And yet there are no applications that you're aware of?
No.
No.
Township being proactive.
No verbal communication regarding something?
No.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a process established for this type of document and amendments that says within, that it would be reviewed or that amendments should be submitted? Normally, when you have an evergreen document, you have a process that tells you how you go through the document, how frequently you might need to do that, and also how long an update to the document would take. And if it has to go through the three little pieces that we talked about, then what's the time frame for them to respond? So if we go through, we approve this tonight, what's the window in which then we can submit a new amendment, maybe based on all the information you received tonight and support from the community? What's the time frame for that to go, get reviewed, and get approved so that we can make the updates to the document?
The amendment has to be prepared based upon input, and no Senator Muth's office is going to provide information. I know my partner spoke with the fellow from DEP, we'll get further information there. So there'll be a process in preparing an amendment. Then it will go to the different PCs, the three of them. And they have, the township has to send it out 30 days beforehand to each of them, and then they schedule it. And when do you get on their schedule? That's why I'm saying it'll be a couple months, because there's that process. Then we have to advertise, then we have to get a hearing set up here, and then
And I appreciate what you're saying. The question I'm asking is kind of how it's structured so that we're confident about the continuous improvement of this document, of this positioning. So you're telling me about 3 months. I think that it would be helpful to not just have it kind of sit out there with a description that we just had, but to have an actual process document that's easy to see. Okay, we have this particular ordinance. Ordinance are reviewed on a, let's just say, an annual basis or earlier, depending on requests for amendments.
well, I represent several municipalities, and they all have ordinance books that are at least that thick. None of them go through the ordinances every year.
Well, whatever the process is, that was just a kind of a comment. You know, this is a new ordinance. You know, this ordinance may be reviewed in 3 to 6 months as a result of input from the community. Something that gives us a sense of trust this is going to happen, not a year from now.
Well, you should join the committee.
Provided that we have that structure and we have an understanding with the contributions from tonight, from Katie, from this community, and all of these people that are sitting here tonight, so that we have that sense of trust. Because I would go back to, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. I know your last name.
Jesse.
What's your first name?
Jesse.
Jesse's point, you know, having a sense of trust is different than having something that guides us, that we know is going to process it through. And that we're not going to be 6 months, 6 years from now, sitting in the same room, assuming we're all alive, saying, hey, you know, we talked about this and it's still taking 6 years and nothing's happened.
Bernadette, I wonder if we could just like say that in like either 60 days or 90 days, we will have another town hall. Like, can we put a time frame on this so us as the community knows that your word is your word?
We could meet every night, but that would get impractical.
I just said 60 or 90 days.
To work with, that would be the thing. And that's what council's talking about, the time frame it will take to put the product together so that we can bring it back, review it as we have tonight, and put it in place.
So commit to something.
And if I can add on to that there are great opportunities in front of the 3 different planning commissions for these ideas to come forward. Because with the planning commission, you have discussion by the commission, but they take comments from the public, and that's a perfect time to amend the ordinance. Then the ordinance gets finalized, advertised, and brought to the board. So the planning commissions are a great opportunity to provide input.
Yeah, and that,
3 of them.
yeah, that's great. We're here to talk to you too, though. So.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Could you just get status of it at every meeting, and you pass it, you get status of what's going on for every single meeting?
Yeah, we can do that, sure.
This way people would be informed, and we'd have something in place to protect us from somebody coming in with no ordinance.
Well, that's what we're,
That's what you're trying to do.
yes, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put this in place, knowing it's imperfect.
And then amending it, and amending it.
And can we get your name for the record?
My name?
Yes.
Lorraine LaFrazier.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, there in the middle.
My name is Carol Otto. I'm a little bit confused, or maybe I just missed something, but the gentleman had asked if you had been contacted by anyone about setting up a data center. And there's been mention about property near Pico. So how do you know about this property? Do you have some information that somebody's interested in it to put a data center there? Or, you know what? I'm just a little confused about that.
Well, let me answer part of that. No one has contacted the township with an interest in bringing a data center. Nobody. That doesn't mean it's not happening. It doesn't mean somebody's not talking to a landowner about that. But it hasn't, no contact has been made with the township about it.
Okay, but it was just a certain property was mentioned. And
Crombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's within a industrial zone, I forget the title of that zoning district, but it's.
Utility.
And that's where the township with this ordinance is saying, all right, we know the state says you have to allow for every use. If somebody's going to come in, you're going to go into that zone, not into a residential zone, not into a commercial zone, but you're limited to that zone.
I have one question.
I also want to say that I'm happy that you're being proactive.
Thank you.
Can you guys legally not define data centers as utilities? Because clearly they're not.
Yeah, that's what Katie was
We're not
talking about.
defining a data center as a utility.
Excuse me?
We are not defining a data center as a utility.
But the wording is
But that's how
all over there.
Yeah.
we're going to change it. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Quick question. The comments by Katie talking about not using that word utility or public utility in the document. Will that be taken out as of tonight, or will it stay
No, it's
there
submitted
until we
as is.
do another amendment?
Can't take it out tonight. That'll kick us back to a whole nother process. But we can certainly address it in any amendment.
Okay, so I'd like to propose that that amendment takes place very quickly after tonight.
Jump on the committee.
I love how they're putting it back on
I
us.
answered your question about that.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Where's this committee forming?
Pardon me?
How are you going to form the committee?
Put out a request on the
Okay.
on the website for people who believe they have something they can offer to the committee, and we put that together.
Thank you.
Does common sense come?
Yeah. Do you need to vote now to form that committee?
No,
You can just form the committee in between meetings
we don't
without a vote?
need to do that formally in this thing.
I'm just checking the boxes.
All right, anybody else? I don't know about you all, but it's past my bedtime.
I'm hoping to just put some of your minds at ease a little bit about the brownfield site concern. Generally speaking, in East Pikeland's ordinances, particularly land development, an environmental impact assessment form is required for any land development project in the township, as well as any conditional use project. That impact assessment form covers pretty much any environmental concern you can come up with: water, sewer, woodland areas, topography and geology, brownfield sites. It would overlap with other state agencies, DEP in particular. Data centers are looking at numerous DEP permit requirements as far as air quality, water quality, et cetera. So I'm hoping that puts your mind at ease a little bit. While the zoning amendment may not explicitly address the brownfield site requirement, so to speak, it is in the ordinances that does need to be addressed. So I know it is a major concern, and validly so just thought I'd offer that information.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Last call. Those in favor? Aye.